For over 400 years, a single question has haunted American history. What happened to the 117 men, women, and children on Roanoke Island who just seemed to vanish? We've all been told it's America's oldest unsolved mystery, a ghost story whispered from one generation to the next. But what if the colony was never really lost? That word carved into a post, CROATOAN, wasn't a riddle. It was a destination. And today, new archaeological evidence suggests the so-called vanished colony is more myth than reality. The real story is one of survival and assimilation, hiding in plain sight all along. In 1587, 117 English settlers, including Eleanor Dare and her newborn daughter Virginia, the first English child born in the Americas, landed on Roanoke Island. But their timing was disastrous. Too late to plant crops, too little supplies. Governor John White sailed back to England for help, expecting to return within a year. But the war with Spain delayed him for 3 long years. When he finally came back in 1590, he found the colony abandoned, but not destroyed. Homes were carefully taken down. No bodies were found, and there was no sign of violence. Just one word carved into a post, CROATOAN. And here's the twist. White wasn't horrified, he was relieved. The colonists had agreed that if they had to move, they'd carve their destination. If they were in distress, they'd add a cross. There was no cross. To him, the message was clear. They had relocated. For centuries, people ignored the obvious. Wild theories grew. Massacres, starvation, even vanishing into thin air. But John White himself believed they had gone to CROATOAN Island, today's Hatteras, home of a friendly Algonquian tribe. His plan was to sail there immediately. But before he could, a hurricane battered his ships and forced him to abandon the search. White never returned, and the story froze in time. If this already changes the way you see the lost colony, hit like right now. It helps this story reach more people who only ever heard the ghost story version. And subscribe, because history is full of hidden truths waiting to be uncovered. For 400 years, nothing more was done. Then archaeologists began asking, not did they disappear, but where did they go? At Site X inland, researchers uncovered pottery, gun fragments, even microscopic hammer scale, flakes of iron only made by European blacksmiths. That meant colonists were working there, likely living alongside native communities. But the trail south was even stronger. On Hatteras Island, archaeologists uncovered sword hilts, muskets, a signet ring, Nuremberg tokens, and more hammer scale. Again, proof of English smithing. And these weren't isolated finds. They were mixed directly into native village remains, suggesting years of coexistence, not just fleeting trade. The evidence paints a clearer picture. The colony didn't vanish. They adapted. Some settlers likely moved inland, but the main group joined the CROATOAN on Hatteras Island. Later, Jamestown accounts even reported native people with English features, and some who spoke English. The legend of disappearance turns into a story of survival. The colonists didn't die out. They blended in. So why do we still call it the Lost Colony? Because mystery sells. A vanished people captures the imagination more than cultural assimilation ever could. And politically, a story of Europeans and Native Americans building a blended community. Didn't it fit the narrative of conquest that came after? So the simpler tale, they were lost, stuck. The lost colony of Roanoke was never truly lost. Its people weren't erased. They survived, hidden in plain sight, carving their answer into wood for anyone willing to look. If this truth surprised you, tell us in the comments which theory you believed before. And make sure you subscribe, because for every mystery history turned into a ghost story, there's a human story waiting to be rediscovered.